We'll do roll call first.
Member Shaughnessy present.
Abby Wynn Burke, present.
Member Kelly present.
Christopher Me present.
PJ Foley present.
Okay. I just want to do a reading before. Pursuant to the open meeting laws, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. The board requests that you please turn your cell phones off. The planning board reserves the right to administer oath through the chair, summon witnesses, call for productions of paper, cross-examine any person giving testimony during the proceedings, declare recess, limit debates, inspect the subject sites or buildings during reasonable hours, and adjourn the hearing for cause. The order of business will be announced by the chair. All questions will be directed to the chair. Any person wishing to speak shall raise their hands for recognitions from the chair. When recognized, please stand, state your name, address, specific interest in the proceedings, and special credentials, if any, pertaining to the proceedings. Please speak slowly and within the context of the hearing matter. The hearing is being stereographed and taped for the public recording. The planning board reserves the right to exclude any unnecessary, irrelevant, repetitive, or harassing presentations. Okay. First order of business is we'll take the agenda. We have to, the minutes for the February 11th meeting. We'll take a motion to
Motion to accept the minutes from the February 11th meeting.
second it.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, tonight's is a continued public hearing for 4 South Street, Planning Board case number 2025-17.
We've received correspondence.
Yeah, we have a correspondence on that one. That's this one right here. Oh, this one. All right, this is written out from Attorney Jim Fleming. They're Mr. Fatsis. Please be advised that this offer represents Quincy 46 South LLC with regards to this application for the site plan review for this proposed residential condominium development on 4 South Street. Please accept this letter as a formal request of a continuance to the next hearing before the city's planning board, which is scheduled for April 8th. My client hereby waives the 65-day requirement to hold a public hearing on this matter. Thank you, Robert J. Fleming, Jr. So do we have to take a motion to?
Yep.
So we need a motion to continue this to the April meeting?
I'll make a motion that we continue it to the April meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, the next order of business is continued public hearing for 46 Bates Ave, Planning Board Case 25-18. Attorney Foley.
How you doing, Mr. Chair, members of the board? Patrick Foley. I'm just seeking a continuance for our hearing for the next available date that you have.
Okay. We'll take a motion to
Sure.
shoot that out.
Do we
to
pick a date
April.
for him first, or do we?
Let's see here. So it's a continued matter. We have seen it before. Right now, April 8th, the department has received 1 new application. We had 2 existing continued cases, so that'd be 3. We just, I think the recommendation for all 4 tonight would be to the next meeting. I think we did reach out to the owner, who indicated that the engineers could get the answers that are still outstanding from some of the comments.
So continuation then, motion to continue to the
April
next,
8th.
April 8th.
Thank you.
I'll second that. Yep.
We'll take a second.
I'll second that, yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, we're rifling through this tonight. Continued public hearing on 33 Victory Road, Planning Board case number 2026-01. We have a correspondence on that. With reference to the above-mentioned matter, The applicant hereby requests a continuance of the public hearing scheduled for today, Wednesday, March 11th at 6 PM, to April 8th, 2026. Inasmuch as the applicant is talking with the planning department and achieve final plans and revisions which were not ready for today. We apologize for any inconvenience. If you have any questions, meantime, please contact, and don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you, Steve Gerard. Take a motion to push this.
We'll make a
over.
motion to continue the Victory Road hearing till April 8th.
Take a second.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. All right, and then we have a continued hearing on 475 Hancock Street, Planning Board Case Number 2026-02. How are you tonight?
I'm well, thanks. How's the board?
Very good.
Very good. Well, you're going to get an early dinner tonight. Much to the contrary of usual. Well, again, good evening, board members, and I appreciate you taking the time to meet us again. We had some feedback from the council person of the ward, and I think she's still waiting on some third-party reports that she wants to get a read of. And then we also have been discussing doing maybe some design changes on what we had existing thought, just to try to conform a little better with what we're seeing from the fire department, et cetera. So with that all being said, what we're asking for is if a continuance till next meeting as well, so we can do a little more due diligence.
Motion to continue till April 8th for 475 Hancock Street.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. We'll see you
Thank you
next
very
month.
much. Enjoy your dinner.
Coming in. Good luck.
You treating?
What else we have?
One business item.
Business meeting? No business.
Nope, we got a business item.
All right, so the next order is for the business meeting.
Nice. Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to the board. We've carried this item. I think I had a brief conversation with the board the end of last year about the need to update the transit-oriented district design guidelines. So we had created the design guidelines back in 2016 when the first transit-oriented district zoning overlay was passed. We started with a proposal that had North Quincy, Wollaston, and Quincy Adams stations. But to get that approved, the council simply approved the North Quincy TOD district. That's what got us that new development, mixed use, with the large retailer and the number of units that we see there today. So the guidelines were adopted and to go along with that zoning overlay in 2016. Now, fast forward a few years, in 2022, the Center Street transit-oriented district was added. So it used the same zoning language for the North Quincy. It simply created a new geography. And that geography was focused off Center Street. The city had been working on a brownfield property in there, and there was some interest because it's so close to the highway for redevelopment. So the Center Street TOD district was implemented just off of Center Street. It did not include any of the Crown Colony properties. And the 269 Center Street project has been approved in that Center Street zone. And then last year, which prompted the conversation in the fall, the city council went ahead and adopted the Crown Colony transit-oriented district. It is, again, using the same TOD language as the original 2016 ordinance. We simply are adding a new geography, which is Crown Colony Office Park proper. The underlying zoning in Crown Colony, just so everybody knows, is industrial. Industrial prohibits residential or mixed use, so the overlay now unlocks residential and mixed use development. Crown Colony was a former gravel pit. It has been redeveloped as an office park, not as a sort of a classic industry as we once thought. But I do think the rock extraction was industry. So what we did with the guidelines is not change any of the sections. what we did is we made sure we added the new maps that had the expanded North Quincy district, which is on the map image, it's, sort of towards the east was where the original development happened. The district expanded over the tracks to pick up, 100, 150 Hancock Street. There was a large, Granite Telecommunications has been a wonderful city partner. They've moved out onto the State Street, one of the State Street buildings, former State Street. So the idea is there could be a redevelopment happening closer around to the T station. So let's use this zoning tool to help encourage a good, smart TOD development there. Joe, if you want to jump down to the other district. So the light shaded pink you can see was that original Center Street TOD district to pick up the former Brownfield site. And now the sort of the deeper pink is now the Crown Colony district. So under section, I believe it's 8.5, in the zoning code, there are now 3 TOD districts. It's the North Quincy one, which has been expanded, and now it's the Center Street district and then the Crown Colony. They were just named something different. I will work with the council and the solicitor of whether we want to try to combine the two under one name in the future, but that's essentially the update to the guidelines we have. I think you all received a copy. We think it's a really good document to help developers understand the types of development we're looking for and the quality we're looking for, particularly around the train stations where we're trying to encourage that. Just to be clear, you might ask, what about Wollaston and Quincy Center? Well, zoning wasn't enough for those districts. We've got urban renewal plans in both areas, helping with those additional development tools for those transit areas. And the other question you might have is this tied to the Commonwealth's MBTA zoning? This is not. The city had a transit-oriented district before the Commonwealth's MBTA zoning law came into effect. This does not include that area. The MBTA zoning law, it focuses heavily on purely residential development. And we're looking at more of a mixed use and trying to work with more commercial as well as residential developers. So we think that the city's TOD is the one we'd like to encourage folks to use. So that would be my update, a little bit on the history of TOD in this document. I recognize a lot of you might not have been on this board in 2016, so I wanted to give a little bit of that background and how it's evolved over the last few years, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Actually, through you, Mr. Chair, where do we start? I think this is great. It's such a huge area, and it's just been sitting there for so long. Where does it stand, not our purview, but in terms of residential zoning, like allowing, does this come first? Does the TOD assist our building and inspectional services department to make that residence, whatever residence B?
Yeah, well, there's 2 types of variances that landowners can apply for. It could be dimensional variances, or it could be a use variance. So when the Flatley companies came forward a number of years ago, with what is now the Elevation Apartments, we said you're prohibited. And he went ahead and worked with the zoning board and got a use variance. That's not the best way to do land
No,
use
that's
policy.
I'm looking at this whole area
Exactly.
here, yeah.
So with the underlining zoning being in industry, residential is prohibited in the industrial zone.
Correct.
So how do we unlock mixed-use development here? And again, using the success of the North Quincy district, the decision was made
That's, I
to
was just
extend
curious
that.
where this puts us in that timeline to get to
Right.
residential, development.
It's already in place, so I had a little bit of urgency of updating the guidelines.
Okay, thank you,
So
man,
if
I
someone
missed it.
comes forward, I can now hand them this guideline, and they need to meet
Beautiful.
some of what we're looking for through these guidelines. Talks about building form, pedestrian connectivity, those types of things.
Yeah, I remember the
massive.
presentation, that's great, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
So, Mr. Stevens, so that is in place as of right now today, the TOD overlay?
Yes, it is.
Excellent.
Yep, all 3 districts. And the guidelines have been in place to this
Right.
board since 2016.
Right.
What
But
we-
this added place up at
We
Crown Colony.
wanted to qualify now the Center Street and the Crown Colony overlay districts is now also having this guideline as a tool to help the city convey its vision for redevelopment.
Very good.
My only question, and I think I already know the answer, is this does not affect, we had an applicant recently that wanted to do like mixed use that was right along that edge, that was gonna have, if you recall, the early childhood, right? So that misses that. That isn't part of this, right? It's right in the edge?
Yeah, so the live case, the active case for 90 Columbia Street
Yeah,
is
Columbia.
using the MBTA zoning overlay, which is different and separate from the TOD, the Quincy's TOD district. So they're under that MBTA zoning rules. That's under its own section of the zoning.
under this one.
They're not under this one, no.
That's what I wanted to know.
And that would be, I guess.
They're right there
yeah,
on Liberty
just-
Street, right there.
Yep,
There you go, yeah.
right there. So they're just outside that district.
Thanks, Roy.
What's interesting is, we don't have the station itself in the district. But it's interesting, right? Because they have, the Home Depot, the storage facility is something this board has seen. They got the bus terminal, the former Lowe's site, Deco, that's pretty much well set. So we didn't feel as though that there's gonna be any real redevelopment there. But the zoning district doesn't need to be tied to the station. It usually is a quarter mile or half mile from the station. And with Crown Colony, some of the existing users already run shuttle buses to and from the T station up into the park. So we'll be curious as to how the park kind of reinvents itself here a little bit. We do know, if you read the newspaper, the courthouse has, or the Quincy District Court has plans, or they're underway at moving temporarily up into this Crown Colony office area. I think it's a 5-year lease they signed with the hopes of redeveloping their facility here in Quincy Center. We've paid attention to, I think Arabella is moved from one of the inside buildings to another. So there's some things moving up there. We're trying to pay attention, but we're also, ready to have those conversations as it sort of unfolds.
Excellent.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stevens.
Great. So I think it would be helpful, since the rules and regs are a function of this board, you have the power, if we could just get an endorsement of the updated, amended rules and regs. I think that'd be helpful.
In the form of a motion?
Yeah. Motion to, endorse or approve.
Motion to update the TOD transit as of March 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I do believe that concludes our meeting, so I'll take a motion.
allow me.
to adjourn.
Allow me, make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.